What's good, you? What's good, YouTube? Is what CD.achille. Oof, wow, I need to slow down. It is your boy CD.achille. Today, we're gonna react to Padme. What if Padme survives Revenge of the Sith? Yup, another nerd video. Yup, you damn right. Let's get straight to it.
What if Padme survived Revenge of the Sith? After delivering her
Oh,
twins, she would look up to Obi-Wan, asking about Anakin, wondering if he is alive. Obi-Wan's face, filled with depression, said it all. Padme began to cry. Obi-Wan did truly believe that Anakin had died on Mustafar, and with that said, he and Yoda both felt that put a bigger target on Padme's children. He would let her rest as him and Yoda would discuss a plan. It would play out very similar as it did in the movies, with Yoda going into hiding for the time being on Dagobah, and Obi-Wan would take Padme and her children to live with Owen and Beru on Tatooine. Padme initially would fight this,
so this time, Leia goes with Luke and Obi-Wan. Okay.
as she felt she needed to be in the Senate to fight for democracy. She wasn't one to give up, but with her children now in the world, her priorities have shifted. She needed to do what was best for them, so her death would be faked and a funeral would be hosted for her. Once Vader had been repaired, he was told that he had killed Padme in his rage. This caused him terrible pain, as he could not believe what he was hearing. She was alive. He felt it. This was something he needed to find out on his own. So shortly after his repairment, he would travel to Naboo. It was in the middle of the night as the dark shadow crept up to the grave. His suit would decompress as he lifted his helmet off his head. He would go down to one knee and put his hand on the grave, tears filling his eyes. But something was off. He could feel it. Immediately he would stand to his feet and use the force to slide open Padme's tomb, only to be met with nothing. This was overwhelming. He began to be filled with emotions, losing his breath. He quickly readjusted his helmet to his head. Once he gathered himself, he would work his way to Padme's home to see if she was there. He would be met with nothing but memories. Vader had a new priority, and it was to find his wife. But he wasn't sure as to where she could be, and the Empire was at its beginning, and Palpatine needed Vader to continue to carry out Order 66 and the rest of his plans to securely set his place as the Emperor of the Galaxy for years to come. Vader would be instructed to hunt down Jedi Master Karak and Falak and kill him without a weapon, only to take Karak's saber and make it his own. Karak had taken the bearish vow. This was an oath taken by a Jedi who completely refrained from all activities related to the Jedi Order as a form of penitence, disengaging from anything but the Force itself, committing themselves to gaining ultimate communion with it. This allowed him to survive the initial wave of the Jedi Purge. Unfortunately, he would not survive Vader. Vader then brought the lightsaber to Mustafar, where he could draw on the Dark Force energy beneath the surface of the planet. The crystal resisted Vader's initial attempt to make it bleed, showing him visions of a path where he turned away from the dark side and used the lightsaber to kill Palpatine. Vader fought this future. However, he was finally able to pour all his pain into the crystal, turning it red. This required him to dig deep within himself, finding the source of his pain to really bleed the crystal. He would draw on memories of losing his battle to Obi-Wan and watching his mother die within his arms. When it clicked in his head, Obi-Wan knew Anakin very well, and he knew that it was likely that he was with Padme, or at least instructed her to hide somewhere. And he knew exactly where that was, the source of his pain. A place Vader would not want to return to, Tatooine. Vader would leave from Mustafar to head towards Tatooine alone. Once Vader entered the atmosphere of the planet, Obi-Wan would sense his presence right away, as it hasn't been that long since they last were together on Mustafar. But Vader would sense Obi-Wan as well, only fueling his hatred as he headed for the Lars homestead. Obi-Wan would rush to Padme, Owen, and Beru, telling them they must leave immediately. But it was too late. Vader's ship would be landing just outside. Obi-Wan would tell him not to move from the spot until he returns. Heading outside to meet his former apprentice, they would lock eyes immediately, but not a word was spoken. All you could hear was the wind and Vader's breathing. Obi-Wan would whisper out a word, Anakin. Vader simply responded,
Where is she?
She is dead, Anakin. I'm sorry. Vader would shout,
The Jedi lied to me, but it is your lie that gives me strength.
as he sent a force push that would send Obi-Wan back, slamming into the home. Obi-Wan could sense Vader's connection with the dark side of the Force was much stronger since the previous meeting. But this would not be enough for Vader. The two would engage in a fight, but Vader was still not accustomed to his new cybernetics. and Obi-Wan was still very much at his peak. Obi-Wan would make quick work of Vader, disarming him by cutting off his arm and slicing him across the helmet, exposing Anakin's face. Vader would let out a desperate force attack, only to be countered with Obi-Wan's own force, damaging Vader's life support system, causing him to drop to his knees. Obi-Wan looked at Anakin. He would say,
"I'm sorry, Anakin. For all of it."
Vader would look up to Obi-Wan and respond,
"Then kill me."
Padme's voice would cut the tension as she yelled no, running towards the two. Obi-Wan would observe Anakin's eyes, fading back to blue as he looked at Padme. Padme would look at the beaten man that was her husband in disbelief. She thought he had died. Anakin had thought the same of his wife. Padme could see the pain and hatred within Anakin. His hatred, though, was pointed at himself. For all the things he's done, realizing he was a pawn to achieve greater power, the Emperor never wanted to help him save his wife, and now he could see the fear that lives in Padme's eyes, the same eyes that he would look into not too long ago as their love was first formed. Anakin was dying. He did not want to continue down this path. All he wanted was for her to be safe. He looked at Obi-Wan.
"I am not your failure, Obi-Wan."
He was becoming weaker and weaker by the second. Padme would plead to him to hold on, not to let go. She would rush to grab her children and bring them to him. Anakin, don't leave Luke and Leia. Don't leave me. When a voice would appear to Anakin, you don't have to, my old friend. Anakin would look up to see Qui-Gon Jinn. Let go of your hatred. Come to peace with the will of the Force and grab my hand. And forever will you be a part of that. Anakin's Force essence would rise from his body as his physical form fell to sleep.
That's a funny video. Alright, guys, that's the end of this video. I was actually intrigued by this. I actually was interested. But hope you guys liked the video. Like, come subscribe to the channel. CD out.